Welcome everyone to NJMEP's National Apprenticeship Week panel event. We're happy you're able to join us today. My name is Patty Moran and I'm the panel moderator. Before we dive into the panel, we want to make sure that everyone who's listening has a clear understanding of what apprenticeship is. Everyone's heard the word, but I want to make sure we have a common understanding of what apprenticeship is. So apprenticeship is a system of training for qualified employees. It consists of structured on-the-job training, where the apprentice works under the mentorship of another person. It consists of related technical instruction, what is commonly called RTI, and that the related instruction takes place often either in a classroom or online, and sometimes it takes place at a community college or a vocational technical school, and it complements the work being done by what the apprentice is doing with the employer. Most of the training is on-the-job training. Most of the training is done on the job. And also you should know that apprenticeships vary in length. Some apprenticeships are 1 year long, some are 1.5, some are 5 years long. So there's a variety of lengths with different apprentices. And some of you may know plumbers and pipe fitters, and you think of those folks, and they've served very long apprenticeships to get that far. So there's a diagram that you'll see that it shows the 5 parts of a registered apprenticeship program. And in New Jersey, we're registered with USDOL. So the 5 parts are: number 1, business involvement. It is the foundation of an apprenticeship is the employer and meeting the needs of the employer. Second is structured on-the-job training. The apprentice receives on-the-job training under the mentorship of another person, under the guidance of another. Number 3 is the related technical instruction. They combine the on-the-job training with the related technical instruction, and many times this takes place at a community college, a vocational technical school, an industry association, wherever. They get number 4 is rewards for skill gains. When they get rewarded, they receive increases in wages as they gain higher levels of skills. And the last is the National Occupational Credential they do receive. So to say that I am a master craftsman in this area, that I have achieved this apprenticeship. So the entire concept of apprenticeship has been around a very long time. In fact, there are some famous apprentices that I'm sure many of you have heard of. Leonardo da Vinci, I did a little research on this, and when Leonardo da Vinci, he studied painting under his mentor, Donatello. It was a 9-year apprenticeship program. Jalil, can you imagine a 9-year apprenticeship program? 9 years. It's a long time, right?
I'll be 40 by the time that one.
Yep. Another famous apprenticeship was Michelangelo. Both Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci started their apprenticeship at the age of 13. 13. They had very few years of formal education. They went right into apprenticeship at 13. Ben Franklin, he started at 12, and his father, at the age of 12, was a candle and soap maker, and he wanted Ben to go under his leadership, his mentorship, and make candles and soap. But Ben he didn't want to do that. So he decided at the age of 12 to go study under his brother James, his older brother, who was doing printmaking. So that was an 8-year apprenticeship. And he became a master craftsman by the time he was 20 years old. So also, Ben was one of 10 children. I didn't know that. He was one of 10. And he came from a big family. And most of them went into some sort of an apprenticeship program. So these folks that we're hearing, they laid many important groundwork for today's apprenticeship model. So today we have a panel here of employers, we have an apprentice, and we have an educator here. And we want to hear about how this training model works for them and what they're doing to support this work-based training. So I'm going to introduce them. Okay, next we have Stephen Mercadante. Stephen Mercadante is a teacher of pre-engineering and manufacturing at Middlesex County Vocational and Technical Schools located in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Stephen holds a Bachelor's of Science in Industrial Engineering from NJIT and an MBA in Management from Fairleigh Dickinson University. He is also a Six Sigma Green Belt from Rutgers. He is the co-author of a book that will soon be published called Lean Six Sigma for Students. Stephen brings more than 30 years of manufacturing experience into his work. So Stephen, educators realize that work-based learning returns a lot of value to the student. Not only do they learn work-specific skills, but they also gain self-confidence and a wide variety of leadership skills. What help do classroom teachers need today to connect what is going on in the classroom with what is happening in the workplace?
That's a great question. I have to talk a little bit about my program to answer that question.
That's good.
And based on the other gentleman who just went, I think they'll be pleased to hear that if they were to walk into my room at the Middlesex County VOTEC, they'd find over 30 different workstations, CNC, 3D printing, PLC programming, process flow, basic measurement tools, robotic arms, so on and so forth. So the kids who come to my program in this high school get hands-on applied learning every day. We have e-curriculum that they apply. We have collaborative projects that I do across the community as well as in the school. It's a school of arts. We collaborate, for example, recently we're collaborating with the music department. You may say, how are you doing that? Well, we're going to do a calibration on one of their compressors that they use in the recording studio. So my school and this program offers students a unique applied learning experience. The graduates from my programs, they cover everything from electrical, software engineering, mechanical engineers, mechatronic engineers, bioengineers, or, as recently happened, they go right out to the workplace and they become maintenance technicians, as Michael mentioned, maintenance technicians, and other jobs as well, other roles. So applied learning, I think, number one, the teaching profession is very creative. Now, whether you have the tools that I have or not, creating those project-based learning opportunities is essential. Providing students the ability to have those apprenticeship programs, no matter how short or how long, is essential. One of the big things that I have to ask for educators and employers, do you have an advisory board? And why don't you? We have an advisory board to create and allow that dialogue to improve the program. The way I see my advisory board is I'm your farm team. Let my high school be your farm team. Invest in me. How? Show up. Give a presentation. Let me take a tour through your facility. I know I'm hitting a lot of different things. I want to make sure I get the
farm team. I love that idea.
Yeah, and thank you. And so educators need to continue to come up with applied learning projects. And again, there's so many opportunities. The local store, maybe the finance department, maybe the HR department has a problem processing its requisitions through in a timely manner. And so there are opportunities throughout the organization, and educators and employers have to enable the kids to have those types of projects. So just because I have 30 workstations and all this neat software, 10 different softwares, all simulation software, you can do it in your school as well by just being creative and collaborative. I can't tell you how much fun I have with the students when they find out that they're using DMAIC for Lean Six Sigma, and in the define phase, the customer keeps changing their mind. Of course I laugh. They change their mind every day. And it would go on for weeks and even sometimes months. The design would be iterative, and they're learning. They're recognizing to take something off the bench and prototype it and then give it to manufacturing to scale it up. It requires a lot of creative energy, a lot of critical thinking skills, a lot of organization. And I try to also make sure that the students connect the dots. In my classroom, I make it true to life manufacturing. Every day we talk safety. Every one of my kids are OSHA 10 certified. They are Lean Six Sigma certified. I bring them up to the accountability board. You may say, what's that? Well, that's one of the lean tools that I learned in one company, where I bring them up to the board to make a commitment. And I'm there and have some of their peers there. And we said, you slipped this date. I want a new date. And pretty soon they realize, they start to come to me and say, Mr. Merck, I'm correcting. I had this little issue, but I think I can get back on track with this project. So I'm letting them feel and experience that real life manufacturing management pressure to produce, to provide, and yield positive results. So there's so many things that I want to tell you about this.
Yeah. It's great. I love the problem solving. I love the fact that they're doing problem solving right there in the classroom. That's great. Yes. They realize when they made a mistake, and they're going back and they're trying to figure it out, how they're going to solve it.
And in my classroom, yes, we have the multimeters. Yes, we'll do fault trees. We'll do root cause analysis. We'll do Pareto charts and all those other tools that help us think and make decisions and focus in on the opportunities, or the Muda, as Mr. Hogan referred to it. What else would you would like
That's
to
good.
hear
Let me get to my
it?
next question. So my next question is very similar to Jalil's question. Again, we're in a strange time. Students are doing a lot of virtual and self-paced learning, and hopefully they're thinking about their future. For a high school student sitting at home right now who may be unsure about their next steps, what advice would you give them?
All right. Well, the first thing I think of, because I have the kids do this in my classroom, and the freshmen do it, is I have them go to bls.gov.
Yep.
It's a government website where the students can research and learn about the different occupations, whether these occupations are growing, what the median pay is, and they can even watch a video about it. So just understanding the variety of opportunities is big. So I would certainly recommend that be one of the first steps. I think here again, the teachers, we participate in this. We have to make them we have to coach our kids to let them know that this is a journey. This is but one step in their journey. And yes, you have that question as a 9th grader, and I teach 9th through 12th grade, of, is my heart aligned with my head? Are they aligned? Do they have to be? And I walk them through that because I tell them, quite frankly, they said, did you love engineering? I said, look, I'd love to be paid to walk on the beach every day and watch the sun come up, but that's not going to happen. I loved engineering because we get to research, we get to improve, we get to make things. And so this whole idea of making and improving is a concept that we as educators have to continually nurture in our students. The other thing is, because of my background, like many on your panel here, it takes me about 3 months and I can tell who's the quality control engineer, who's the mechanical engineer, who's the electrical engineer / computer. And as I go through the 4 years with them, I will personalize their curriculum. Right. I will give them more of how they see themselves and how I see them developing. That doesn't mean they get less of, but it means I'm going to give them more opportunities in what I see them becoming in front of me. Yep. So by virtue of having the experience that all these gentlemen have had, I get to have this great time with kids in an awesome room with all this equipment and help nurture them through their journey and not being hung up with the fact that not everybody's going to come out of my program and go right to work. Not everybody's going to come out of my program and become an electrical engineer. But what they will be is they will have a career, because they'll have the skills, and they'll be part of the journey, and they will find their way as they go through that journey. One last thing about this.
Yes.
How do we as educators think about our students? Do we feel our job is done when they graduate high school? Do we feel that our job is done when they go on to college? Well, I don't see that as my role. I see as my role bigger than that. I am not going to feel good about my students until they get that first job. And to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to let go then. I'm linked in with them. I talk to them, all my graduates. I'm there for life. I want to hear and see them going through their progress. And I think that's the long-term view educators would want to bring to the table, that my job is not done when they can leave the high school doors. My job is a life learning skills.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for taking the hour plus out of your time today to serve on this panel. And we've heard I've taken notes as we've gone. I've learned so many good things, and I have other ideas that have spun off of this. And I really appreciate this. I appreciate all of your input. So USDOL was kind enough to send me some facts and figures to let me know apprenticeship continues to grow nationally. Since 2009, apprenticeship has grown by 128%, with 705,000 new apprentices since 2019. And in New Jersey, for the first time in 6 years, we have more than 8,000 apprentices. We currently have 8,252 apprentices, and that information came to me today. So it is growing. I am all about not just apprenticeship, but I call it work-based learning, preparing people for employment, different career pathways that they can enter, getting people onto that road of employment. So I do want to thank the panel, but we started today talking a little bit about famous apprentices, and I talked about Leonardo da Vinci and Ben Franklin, but I cannot forget to mention Elvis. I'm sitting here with my blue suede shoes on, right? And Elvis was an apprentice, electrician apprentice, if memory serves me right. So I wanted to end this with a quote from Ben Franklin that I think really sums up learning and connecting learning to the work. And he said, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. But involve me and I learn." And I think so much of that is a lot of what we are doing and what our goals are, is getting them involved in their work and making them passionate to go to work every day. So I thank you again, the panel. I really appreciate it. And I hope all our listeners are enjoying the National Apprenticeship Week festivities.